Therizinosaurus. Today's video. Lovely looking fella. This is, of course, part of the same release wave as the Giga previous video. Let's go ahead and pull him out of the packaging. As we saw in the Giga video, Giga was surprisingly nice. Knew it was going to be good, but it was even better than I was expecting. Let's see what we think of the Theory. Now, this is a cheaper price point figure. Oh my god, I can't get it. Ugh, let's go back like this. There we go. This is a cheaper figure in the price range of the Carnotaurus. But still looks very nice. I can already tell we have dew claws that are unpainted, so there's where your $5 is missing or whatever. Yeah, it looks lovely. Now, this one, as far as I've heard, it doesn't have the quality control issues that were plaguing the Giga. So, we maybe don't need to, linger over the quality of the plastic as much as we did in the Giga's case. Although our Giga came out perfectly fine, so, we're lucky maybe. Let me get this guy out of the box here. Well, he was very securely fastened in there. Here we have the fella removed from the packaging. Standard Hammond collection situation, of course. You gotta attach the tail. The Theory has an advantage in this toy line in that it has a short tail anyway, so they can't really fuck it up much. All right, so let's go over the figure here a little bit. We've got, of course, glass eyes. I think the Giga eyes look maybe a little bit better than these. These look a little recessed, but they're not bad. We got a mouth that opens and closes. Proper little beak there in the front. No individual tongue or anything in there on this guy. We've got a swivel joint here on the top of the neck, and then kind of a ball and socket joint at the bottom here. Maybe not the most posable neck you could have on a figure, but not bad. The base of the head there, the neck does look like it gets a little fat. Not too bad though. Facial detailing looks pretty nice. Arms, we can wing out the chicken wings. Elbows, good range of motion. The Theory, so it should have a good range of motion on the arms. Otherwise, what are you even doing? You can pivot the wrist in and out. You can turn it, so you can do the same thing we talked about in the Giga video of if you want like retro bunny hands, you can do that. So you can do your straight up Omega fucking murder bunny hands on the Theory here. The claws are interesting in this, in that they actually are articulated, which is interesting, although I don't think it looks that good because the fingers are still, rigid and sticking straight out. So articulating the claws out of the end of the finger is just a little weird. I don't know if this last claw is kind of bent or not, because he's got like that last finger is like really splayed out there. Or maybe it's the inner one here that's a little bent that makes it look a little weird. But like it's stored in the packaging in a way where it can't really be bent because it's like nested in the plastic. I threw the box away. I'm gonna go grab the box again and take a peek at that. Yeah, so like on the packaging, right, that one claw is not splayed out like that at all. So that's interesting. But yeah, when you look at the was it? This was in here like this. Yeah, you could see in the packaging though how it kind of gets like that. Because I don't know if this stands out very well, but the finger here, right, and this finger up here, there's kind of a splay between the two. But I'm wondering if is maybe the packaging is a little splayed out, and then if it sits in the packaging, maybe not the and maybe not the best position, it looks a little more weird. I mean, you can kind of correct for it a little bit because it rotates, right? So you can just kind of turn it a little bit up. I don't know, man. That's gonna kind of bug me. It doesn't really look quite right no matter how I do it. Weird. I might look at some other like videos online and see if the fingers are kind of weird like that on other people's, or if I just had bad luck. Well, anyway, I think it's not like that bad. Like looking at it from the front with it slightly turned. If anything, like the gap, yeah, see, the gap between the top and bottom claw is like the same. It's the position of the middle claw that actually comes out a little bit different. So maybe it's the middle claw that's actually curved up on mine a little bit. Whereas if it was pushed back this way a little bit more, it'd be pretty evenly spaced. Well, it's fine. Other things. Where do we leave off? Well, we've got hips that can move in and out. The moving them in really squeezes the legs together awkwardly, so I don't see much use in that. Seems to me like you gotta have the legs kind of splayed out here to get it to even stand flat with the way the feet are positioned. Of course, 2 claws are not painted. Rest of the nails are painted. Rest of the legs, pretty standard stuff. Knee, ankle, foot, all the same kind of like, hinge and swivel joints or whatever. These joints all seem fine. Nothing too loose or too stiff. We'll have to get the tail on here and play around with the balance a little bit and see how he's gonna stand. As far as the tail goes, we do have oh, interesting. So we do have, one piece here. A lot of wrinkling going on here in this tail. Yeah, I think what I said on the Giga with it having like an internal hinge, I think that's true. I think only the end of the tail here might be wire, if anything. Oh, something kind of snapped in there. I don't think it broke. And maybe it did break already. Yeah, I don't know. Weird. I think this internal part down here is segmented like skeletal plastic inside or something. Because this one definitely has a feeling of like internal ridges as you like go along here. Very similar to the Brocky neck. That must be what they're doing. Painted all the way to the tip, top and bottom, so that's nice. It should be for this price point, so it's good to see that it is. As far as attachment points goes, it looks like it just snaps in again. Nothing too special there. Yep, pretty simple. There's the fully connected up figure. Let's check on the balance. Yeah, so at least with this current leg position, the balance is non-existent. This theory, the hip joint is like very ratchety in that, it's very clicky. Certainly a thing. It makes it kind of hard to like do much of a pose beyond kind of horizontal and erect. Like if you want it slightly upright, you really can't do that because there's only so many positions the legs can kind of snap to. All right, well, I got it balancing. You can't see it really, but like it does balance decent. I am holding the feet so I don't drop the figure, but that is a balanced pose when I set it down on the desk. Play around with it a little bit more because the feet are not exactly like flat or anything here, but not bad. Perfectly reasonably balanced. Maybe I can do this. Nope, that's danger. Don't tip the whole monitor forward to try and get the webcam to look down at the table. That's bad. I would say that the red from the body go like the on the feathers here going to the tail like noticeably drops off. Like it's much redder on the body than on the tail, right? You can see it there in the video. It's not like terribly bad, but you can notice it. So yeah, solid little figure, solid big figure. We can do a comparison to the other toy line theory, which of course has more, you know, older metallic proportions, big feet. Oh god, it's so noisy too. It is the noisiest bastard. In terms of body size, yeah, like the new one's a little longer. The tail is a lot longer. Actually has a pretty different shape too, because the original Mattel figure has much more of like a feathered fan on the tail versus this, which is just your shaggy dinosaur tail kinda. Interesting choice there. On the other hand, the arms are like very similar with the feather patterns hanging off the shoulders and the upper forearm there. Claw length is almost identical. Hands are a little smaller on the Hammond collection. The arms are a little bigger overall. Neck and head proportions are radically different. If you're gonna display these side by side, you could do like a male female variant argument or something, because the skull on the old Theory is much bulkier. My old Theory, if he'll stop making fucking noise, this guy's leg is loose as shit. I don't know how the fuck this guy was still standing on the shelf. I feel like when I put him back, he's done. He won't be able to stand anymore. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a good figure. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if it's because I opened the Giga first, but the Giga impressed me more. It might be just the case of like whichever one I opened first would be the one that would be more impressive, but yeah. I don't know. I like the Theory a lot more as an animal in the franchise, design wise and in terms of its role. The Giga is incredibly forgettable in terms of like anything it actually does in the film. Um, yeah, I kind of expected this to leave a little more of an impact on me. Again, not saying it's like bad or anything. It's just, I don't know. Honestly, in terms of its comparison to like the other Theory, it doesn't even stand out that much. Like you could see where the improvements are. They're noticeable improvements, but like for a Mattel figure, the other Theory is perfectly serviceable, which like which makes the Hammond collection one a little less interesting, right? Like for the Hammond collection, I really like the Carnotaurus because I never really liked any of Mattel's other Carnotauruses. So it's like, oh, I finally get a Carnotaurus. Whereas I was pretty happy with the other Theory. So getting the better one, it's not like such a strong glow up. You know what I mean? Still good. Could do some comparison images. Why not? In no particular order, a few reference images. I gotta hold it this way because the camera inverts. Well, there's a nice side profile view of the Theory. I would say the Hammond Collection one's arms are probably a little oversized. The neck might actually be a little overly long. Let me size it up to my monitor. So the skull here, yeah, the neck is actually like a lot longer, or the skull's a lot smaller than it seems like it ought to be. Let me do this. Hold on. I do one of these. If we zoom this in, that zooms it in there for you too, gentle viewers. Okay, so that's a little bit too zoomed in. I'm just trying to like scale it to to the real life figure as I hold it in my hand. Okay, that's pretty good for like head length to back of neck. You know what? It's not that bad. I think a little bit of difference makes like quite a lot of difference. What a dumb fucking sentence I just said there. I do feel like, yeah, it's not that bad. There's also potentially like um weird things with perspective that can go on here. I'm not fully scaled to it either. Yeah, arms are probably a little bit big. Neck is maybe a tad long, which is shocking. You think they'd cut corners rather than like you know, you think they'd remove plastic from the figure rather than add plastic by making the neck longer. Let's see. We get back to regular scaling here. I have completely obliterated our layout. Okay. Maybe. Sure. That's probably good. Okay. Um yeah, so decent shot at the body proportions. The legs also might be a little lanky. Maybe, hard to say. The Therizinosaurus, Therizinosaurids in general are pretty squat, right? Big bulky guys. The Dominion one's a little leaner. And then if the figure, leans into an even leaner sort of proportion, then you can see how it would kind of get away from itself a little bit. We also have a nice zoomed in shot here of the face that we can compare to. So of course, one thing, none of the eyes are blind on the figure, which, you know what, I can take it or leave it. I don't consider that a knock against it. At some point in time, this guy was not blind, so there's that. Is it? I don't even remember. Is it one blind eye or is it fully blind in the film? It might have been fully blind. They could have just given this figure cloudy white eyes instead. But I guess that would defeat the purpose of the glass eye effect that they're going for. The facial coloring here is maybe not quite up to where it ought to be. There's a lot more lighter colored on the face where it should be pretty blue, like all along the front of the snout here. This should all be pretty blue. It's also, but we do have like the ridge above the nose going up above the eye. But I think something about the shape of it is a little different. Like it makes the toy look a little more surprised than the Theory from the film. Fairly minor overall, but I mean things can add up. The figure also appears pretty naked on the underjaw there, and you can definitely see in this picture, for example, that it does have feathering on the bottom there. As far as the beak goes, I mean it seems fine. Slightly hooked. The bottom beak on this toy is kind of hooked, and it's not really hooked in this depiction here. There's like a little hook on the top, but this is not that hooked. Yeah. Don't think I have too much else to say about that. The other detailing of the head looks fine. We also, of course, have the render we can compare to. Where did I put the render? I think it got erased. Why did it get erased? Give me a moment. I must have not imported it properly as a layer. Well, there it is. There's the render. So, of course, the render, not necessarily what's seen in film, right? But Actually, the sense that it's not what it sees in film actually makes it a lot more accurate to the toy, right? You can see there's a lot more lighter colored stuff going on here on the face on this guy, just like on the figure. I wonder if the color scheme here is based very closely on this render specifically versus the CGI model and colorization actually used in the film. In the same sense, like the body proportions are maybe better. I don't know. It's so hard to tell without like fucking lining these up one to one. Yeah, I mean, you can see the floofiness on the arms. It's definitely on both the Hammond Collection Theory and like the other Mattel Theory. The tail here looks pretty ratty and thin, which I guess is, you know, kind of what's going on here. Baggy red feathers on the top. Yeah, definitely like the thing that really makes me think it's based heavily on this is just how much of the face is light colored versus the other picture where there was a lot more blue. I mean, there's still obviously the blue around the eye socket and shit, but yeah. Something this figure has that is pretty much completely absent on this render is this undercolor here along the base of the neck. Okay, right there. There we go. Stop moving too much to the right or the left. Going all along the base of the body here. Like, the Theory render, pretty much the same gray feathering once you leave the shaggier red part on the top versus this, like, three-colored look here. If anything, maybe it should be the gray on the belly should maybe move up a little further here and not have this like black feathered region between the red. But again, a little hard to say. I wonder now, I'm kind of curious if the JWE Theory has the same facial coloring. A little bit. No, the JWE Theory's got more blue. It's a little bluer further down the face, like in the film. Trying to find a thumbnail or a picture of this that's not somebody's fucking YouTube clip, but I guess there's this like promotion. The promotional image, it's not great either. You know what? Let's not worry about it. It's not that this is like uber nitpicky, and this doesn't really matter. I'm getting way too into the fucking weeds on how blue the face should be. Okay, well, a good comparison. That's fine. Let's just rank the guy. How about that? So, I like the Theory. It's certainly a good figure. The real question is, how good? How strongly do I feel about this guy? I really like the Anki, but the Anki's like much less accurate than this figure is. This is a much more accurate representation of the franchise Therizinosaurus than the Anki is of the JP3 Anki, right? I basically gave the Anki bonus points because I liked the sculpt and stuff. I'm debating between like high A and low S on this. I think this probably goes in low S. I think I'm just gonna slap it here on the end, honestly. I think I'm fine with that. I really like the Ceratosaurus. And as much as I like the Theory and the depiction of it, like it could be better. And the color palette is like interesting but not mind blowing. Like the Baryonyx and Ceratosaurus get bonus points because I really like their color schemes. They're some of my favorite like color schemes in the franchise, alongside the Carnotauruses, and like I think they're really nice. Um, this one I do feel it does feel like it should be higher, but at the same time, it's only 2 slots behind the Giga. The Giga definitely impressed me more. I mean, it's the best large theropod figure we have. I mean, the Carnotaurus is also a pretty large theropod, but it is like, a scale size below it. And obviously, the Carnotaurus is the tippy top of my tier list here. No, I think I'm happy with this. I think I'm okay with this placement. We can just stick with that. There's a full look at the current tier list. So Therizinosaurus sliding at the bottom of S. This leaves us with the next upcoming dinosaur being Delta, which presumably is a complete repaint of blue. So spoilers on where that goes. That'll probably be a pretty quick video. We'll still do one. We've covered repaints before. There's no reason not to cover another repaint. I love the Pyroraptor. Now, the Pyroraptor should be interesting. Smaller feathered figure. I'm kind of interested to see how the sculpt for that comes out, because like the blue Velociraptor sculpt was a really nice improvement on some of the problems with the smaller theropods in the toy line. So it'll be really cool to see if that, if the Pyro comes out even better, maybe, or if it comes out inferior, I guess. And yeah, then I don't think we have anything else announced beyond those two. There was rumors of an Admonosaurus, but that never seemed to materialize, so I think that was bullshit. Yeah, I think just those two are the only two we know about. All right, well, that's enough rambling. I rambled a lot in this video. It's a rambly day, I guess. Well, there's 27 minutes of my thoughts on Therizinosaurus.